All right, what's up, gang? Ben here, and today we're going to talk about the three things that all small business owners must know to be successful. And this goes for whether you're starting a business or if you've been in business for a few years. Now, before we get into the content, real quick, for those of you who can see me, as you can see, I did No Shave November, and I went a little long on that. It's now December. What are your thoughts? Should the beard stay? Should the beard go? It's gotten mixed reviews. Some people say it makes me look older. Some people say it hides my ugly face. So you tell me what you think in the comments below, and you decide. Beard stay, beard go. That's all I got on the beard. So, three things you got to know. And you want to check this. This is not just for new businesses. This is for businesses that have been in business, 10 years, 5 years, 1 year. You should check these three things periodically, because if this pandemic has taught us anything, is that the market can definitely change very quickly, within just a matter of a couple of months. So your market can change, your environment can change, your customers can change. So you need to know these three things. And this kind of all got brought about by my son. He was talking to me the other day about wanting to start a business, and he's like a lot of business owners, including myself. I've got this great idea. I got this logo, I got this name, I got this, the floor layout, the atmosphere. He's got all these ideas for this business. And so I asked him, I said, this is the first thing. Carter, what problem do you solve? And he's like, what do you mean? What problem do I solve? I'm selling X products. It's more of a luxury item. It's not really a problem. You gotta solve a problem. People buy things for one of two reasons. Either they have a problem that they don't want, right? Think pest control. We don't want rats in our house. Or they have a result that they don't have that they would like to acquire. Health and beauty. I want luxurious skin, so I'm going to buy a product so that I can make my skin look beautiful. So people either have a result that they don't have, or they have a result that they don't want anymore. They want to get rid of it, or something wrong that they want to get rid of, like rodents. So you got to solve a problem. You got to fill a void for one of those two things. That's the first thing you must absolutely know about your business. The second thing is you must know without a shadow of a doubt who you do it for. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, I appeal to everyone. And if you are a business that appeals to everyone, you probably appeal to no one. And there's a bunch of different versions of that phrase, but you kind of get what I mean. And I use the example, and I use this a lot, coffee companies, right? So let's take Community Coffee as an example. They're a huge local regional coffee organization, been around for, 60, 70 years. Everyone in the South knows who Community Coffee is. And then let's say Black Rifle Company, most people know who that is, and Berserker Brew, who is a sort of private label or niche coffee. And I did an interview with Bland Matthews, the owner, on the podcast, so check that out. Bland has got a pretty interesting story. But anyway, three different companies, all selling the same exact product. It's all coffee, right? Community appeals to the masses. Community Coffee, it's a pretty basic coffee. There's nothing special about it. I mean, they have some flavored brands, but you get what I mean. Black Rifle Company appeals to vets and the military. That's their market. They're very niche. If you watch their marketing, you know what I'm talking about. Berserker Brew is formulated for athletes. And so these three different companies sell the same product, but they have very different customers and very different mindsets. So Community Coffee, no surprise, probably spends a lot more in advertising because they're trying to appeal to the masses, right? Whereas Black Rifle, if you watch their content, it's all about military, usually ex-vets, that type of stuff. They're very specific about who their customer is and who they sell it to. So when you know who your customer is very specifically, that's going to change your content, it's going to change your marketing, and it's going to change where you market in particular. Could you imagine Community Coffee trying to market to, in say a handgun magazine or a survival magazine? No, but you see Black Rifle Company all over in that. You see Bland and Berserker Brew all over Spartan racing and other OCR type races, because that's his customer base. So they're very specific and targeted on their customer, very specific targeting in their messaging, and very specific in targeting on where they post that marketing. So you got to know what's the problem you solve and who you solve it for. And the third thing that I tell everybody, and this is mostly for new businesses, is proof of concept, but it also applies to existing businesses. Whereas, say you want to expand into a new market, or you want to maybe try a new product line, right? So you will have you'll have to ask, proof of concept. And what I mean by proof of concept is, will someone buy it, right? Does anyone want that product? So I go back to my son's example. He was like, Dad, we don't have one of these businesses here. I think we should start this kind of business. And, you know, you got to ask yourself, well, maybe there's a reason why there's not one of those businesses here. Maybe there's no need for it. Maybe no one's really wants to buy that product, or maybe someone opened it years ago and it closed down. You see that all the time, right? So proof of concept, will people buy it? Now here's some tips on that. So if you got a new product, let's say it's something that you make at home, because we've been talking about that, and you go look at the previous videos of how you can use your current resources to start a business with low money or no money. So let's say you're I don't know, making widgets, you're baking muffins, I don't know, and you need to check your proof of concept. So what you would do is find like a farmer's market or some small outlet to sell that product. Eric Ries, and it's spelled R-I-E-S, I believe. The book is Lean Startup. In his book, he talks about the MVP. The MVP is the minimum viable product, meaning the most basic version of your product. Take that and go test it in the market. So you're not spending thousands and thousands of dollars and getting all these fancy labels. In fact, if your first iteration of your product doesn't embarrass you a little bit, you probably launched too late. So check that out. Eric Ries, Lean Startup. It's a hard read if you're not, you know, into geeking out on that kind of stuff, but it's got a lot of great stuff in it. But that's one thing he talks about, is taking your MVP and taking it sort of on a beta program or a beta test and seeing if it sells. So if it's a product you can take to a farmer's market, you know, or just give some samples away to your local friends and family, get some feedback, see how well it does. You know, go to festivals, go to events, whatever you can do to get in front of your ideal customer, because you've done the 1 and 2 things. You know who your ideal customer is, and you know the problem you solve. Go where they're at, like Bland does with his Berserker Brew Coffee. He goes to where his customers are at, which is sporting events, or athletic events, I should say, and see if there's a market for it, see if it sells, right? And now, you're going to get a lot of people, I'm just going to give you another little tip, that are going to say, you should do X. They've never owned a business, they've never run a business, they don't know anything about running a business, but they're going to tell you all sorts of great advice. And this is how you solve that. You ask them one of two things. One, okay, it's great, you love it, but would you buy it? Then how much would you buy it for? You got to get those two questions out of the way. Because if they say, well, I love it, well, what would you pay for it? Oh, I would want to pay $5 for it. Well, if it costs you $10 to make it, no one wanted to pay $5 for it. No good, right? No good. So you got to get an idea of, will they buy it and what would they buy it for? And then the other thing is, tell them, all right, well, I'll tell you what, you put your money into that idea that they give you, like that great advice they give you, and I'll go make it, and let's see if we can sell it. Well, if they say, whoa, I'm not going to spend $200 or $300 to develop a product, that kind of tells you they're not really that bought into the idea. You're going to get tons of horrible advice from people trying to tell you should do X, but X is maybe not the thing to do, especially if they're not wanting to invest their own money into it. So keep those things in mind, but you got to know those 3 things, and if you can learn and or really hammer down and drill down what those 3 things are specifically to your business, I promise you, you're one step ahead of your competitors, and you're on your way to having a very successful business. That's all I got for you guys today. My name is Ben. Check out my website. I got a couple of them, explosivesmallbusinessgrowth.com and explosivesmallbusinessgrowth.us. You can hit a / on the .us and go / wrong. There's a free training on there. It doesn't require any sign up. I think it's like 70 minutes, but it's the best 70 minutes you'll ever spend on your business. You can check out, obviously, any of my websites. I'll have one of my books on there for free. You can download it, no strings attached. Check it out. Hope it helps you with something. I've got some other training on .com as well, the explosivesmallbusinessgrowth.com, that you can download for free. And as always, subscribe to the podcast and or the YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. That helps the algorithm out and helps this video find other people who may benefit from this particular video. And of course, share it if you have some business friends that may get some value from this particular content. I appreciate you guys. I hope you learned at least one thing today that'll help take you to the next level.